Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. A little bit of an update on monthly favorites. So for the past couple of months I've done my monthly favorites. I didn't do one in December because I was doing Vlogmas, and I have decided to kind of pause normal monthly favorites. I've kind of come to the realization that I honestly just don't try enough makeup and fashion products to be able to sustain doing a monthly favorite. I didn't really have a lot of products to discuss anyways, and most of them that were favorites were products I already reviewed for other posts. Like, they were my BoxyCharm, so I already had talked about it there, so it just didn't make sense. I'll still do favorites now and again, but I think I'll do them more seasonally. So I'll do like winter favorites, so I'll talk about, you know, a couple of months at a time. The one area that I did have a lot every single month to talk about was my books. So instead of I've decided I'm going to do monthly book summaries. I do this on my TikTok, so I thought this would be nice to do a longer format for YouTube as well. And I'll also include my TBR for the next month as well. So I am going to go back in time and do December and January, so this video it might be a little long. I'll try and talk quickly. So all of the books from December and January, I have blog posts up already, so I will link them in the description box if you ever want to refer back or you prefer listening, and I'll also do timestamps as well for you guys if you want to skip. So up first we have A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. It feels like I read this book forever ago, because in reality I kind of did. I started this book at the end of November and finished it December 6th, so it just snuck its way into my December. I hadn't talked about it yet once I had filmed my November favorites. So this is the sequel to From Blood and Ash. I liked it better than the first book. In the first book I found that I had a lot of issues with the writing style, and this one I kind of like settled into the zone of writing, but I found Poppy, the main character, to be quite annoying. I don't want to go into details why, because it kind of like spoils some of the plot for you guys, but yeah, I did find her pretty annoying. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings about the characters in this book. I did enjoy though that like Poppy definitely started to develop as a character, and I also liked how her relationships with other characters started to develop. I think there's also a really interesting passage in this book because Poppy is really ignorant of what's going on. She was kept really sheltered because she was amazing about what was going on in her city and her country, and so because of that she talked a lot about ignorance and how she was willfully ignorant of what was going on around her and therefore part of the problem. And I thought that really connects nicely with a lot of modern day issues like racism, sexism, xenophobia. Like you can be like ignorant about something because you have a lack of education or you're young or something like that, but there becomes a point where if you don't go out and educate yourself, then you are just willfully being ignorant and therefore a part of the problem. So I thought that was really nice tie-in to see something related to today's world in a fantasy book. The ending made me really want to read the next book, but it doesn't come out until April. So yeah, I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and you could read more about my thoughts on my blog. Okay, if you read any of my blog posts, then you would know that this cover is so annoying. Let me tell you about it, and then I'm going to take off the cover. So this is The Hate You Give. I got the collector's edition, which is why it has a shiny cover, but the shiny cover means that it's really reflective and hard to take any photos or videos of it. So let me take it off. There we go. Now we just have a white book. The Hate You Give, if you read my blog post, it is my top book of 2020. Because it is literally perfect and I don't have anything that I would want to change. So The Hate You Give, if you don't know what it's about, basically Star is a black teenager and she witnesses her best friend, who is also black, being shot by a police officer. So the whole entire story is basically about police brutality and racism. So I think it is really relevant to what is going on today. I came out in 2017. but a lot of what it talks about is still relevant to today. I really do think everyone should read this book because it really helps you learn and grow. And I think a really good way to understand something is to step into someone's shoes. So by reading about Star and her perspective and her family, I was really able to learn about the Black community a lot more. I loved the cast of characters in this novel. Star has a big family and lots of friends, and it was fun. All of the characters are so unique and well developed, and the relationship in between all of them was really fun to read. I think the relationships that she has with her white boyfriend and white friends really show a good example of being a good ally and a bad example, like an example of being a bad ally. So I thought that was really good. I thought this book was really well paced, that there was really dramatic moments, and then like there was some like softer, sweeter moments to kind of balance it out. That way it's not always really intense the whole entire time, because when you're talking about tough subjects it can be a little much. The only downside that I had about this book is that it came out in 2017 and was pretty rooted in 2017. It talks a lot about the pop culture and the social media at the time. So like, I don't know, I grew up in 2017, so I know what it was like. It's only a couple of years ago. I can see that like further down the line it could be less relatable to people, but then at the same time it is a good snapshot of what it was like at that time and moment. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book to everyone because I think everyone could learn so much from reading it, and I definitely want to check out more by Angie Thomas. Okay, the next book I read in December was In a Holidaze. Not exactly a book that you want to be talking about at the end of January, but oh well, sorry, it's a little late. So In a Holidaze is a holiday themed book by Christina Lauren. They are a writing duo that has written a bunch of popular romantic books, including like The Honeymooners, I think is one of their most popular books. So this story follows May Lynn, or May for short. She goes back to her family, and a bunch of her family friends go to the same cabin every single year to celebrate Christmas, and she discovers that the people who own the place are considering selling it, and she has this romantic woes with two of a set of brothers of one of her family friends. But the thing is that there's a twist, is that May falls into like a Groundhog Day scenario where she has to keep on reliving the week over and over and over again until she gets it quote unquote right. May was not my favorite main character. She wasn't super, like, I just didn't really like the way that she reacted to a lot of situations. I found her to be like really controlling and sometimes like frankly stupid. So I was like, ugh, like she was kind of annoying. But I liked everything else despite that. I really liked her relationship with all of the members of her family friends. I liked the romantic relationship that developed. She's also in her like late 20s, and there's this whole conversation about being like an adult but like a big kid. I can definitely relate to that, you know, just because I'm in like my mid-20s, so I definitely get that. If I were to compare this to, say, your classic cheesy Hallmark film, the level of Christmas is definitely less. Like, it's still in there. They do lots of like fun Christmassy activities, but it's not like the main driver. It's just kind of like sprinkled in there. But the romance is way better. Most like Hallmark movies, like it ends with them with a kiss, you know, that's the culmination of the romance, versus this has a lot more romance a lot sooner, and it is definitely like, I don't know, how are things rated? That is my question, because I should probably figure this out, whether like how books are rated. I guess you would say this is 18 plus because they have sex in it. I have to do some Googling about that. I need to do some research into this because I don't know how you rate books. But I think that's something that I should include. But yeah, basically this is an adult romance, so they have sex a little bit more than your typical Hallmark film. So this has a Groundhog Day style plot. For those of you know who don't understand that reference, Groundhog Day is a movie with Bill Murray where the man has to wake up and repeat the same day over and over again on Groundhog Day. So basically it means that, like I described, that in this book May keeps on reliving the same week over and over again. And I've read one other book with this style of plot. It's called Before I Fall, and I think that book did a way better version of it than this. Yeah, I found it frustrating. Yeah, I think the element obviously is like cute, and it was like they wanted it for this storyline. I've read it done better. Overall, I have lots of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this, if you couldn't tell. I give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought I enjoyed this book, but it's not the best book that I've ever read. And like, I wouldn't recommend this like out of season, like read it at Christmas time. But I will say that it makes me want to read other books by Christina Lauren. I think once you strip away the like holiday and the Groundhog Day aspects of it, they did write a really good romance. So because of that, I want to read more romance books by them. And now my last book of 2020 was The Here and Now. If you guys don't know, I do try and alternate in between books that I've had on my bookshelf for a while and books that are newer. So this is one that has been on my bookshelf for a while. Can't remember when I got it, but this is by Anne Brashares. I think that's how you say it. The same author who wrote Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. This is a YA eco-dystopian novel, and I thought that the concept was really interesting, that Prena, the main character, is from the future, and during her time period, the world has been totally destroyed by climate change, and there is a bunch of blood plagues that have destroyed large swaths of the population. You know, plague, a little scary to read during a pandemic, but her and a large portion of her community immigrate back in time to the early 2010s. This book is set in 2014. So I thought that was a really interesting concept, because I've read about time travel before, but it's always been one person, and it's never been this like huge community. So there's a lot of like rules and dynamics that are different because of that. My interest in this novel kind of stops at the concept though. I did have quite a few issues. First, there is this one plot twist, which I don't want to give away. I didn't see it coming, like, at all. And I don't know whether that's because I just didn't see it coming, or if it's written poorly. And generally, with a plot twist, like, I don't need to anticipate every single plot twist, but after reading a plot twist, I want to be able to go back and be like, yes, that makes sense. I missed all of the breadcrumbs, but it was there. Whereas this is a plot twist that I read and I go, oh, I didn't see that coming at all. And like, I didn't felt like the breadcrumbs were like strong enough. So that kind of bugged me. The ending of this book is not some like huge ending that you associate with normal dystopian novels. Like, this book is quite small, so it doesn't really dive deep into the subject. The whole entire concept of the ending is just like a small change, which I do think makes a lot of sense, that not every single action that you need to take needs to be some huge change. And I think it works well with the narrative of like climate change, that like if you just do one small thing, you can have a huge impact on the world. But because it's small, it's kind of a little anticlimactic. And the ending was also not satisfying. There is a romance, and I didn't get the satisfaction at the end with the romance. And like, I get it, not every single book needs to have romance, but like, I'm at the time in my life that like I kind of do want it, and I just wasn't satisfied with it. So I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I would recommend to anyone who's looking for an eco-dystopian novel. If you're looking about something about climate change, creating it, this is a good book to look into. But if you're not interested in that, just pass. It's not that much worth it. And now we're getting into January books, finally. In January, I read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. As you can see, I got this really nice box set for Christmas. I think maybe I showed this. I don't know if I have. It's a very pretty box set. I know there's other box sets, but I really do enjoy this one in particular. I like the style of these. So the trilogy includes Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm is book number 2, Ruin and Rising is book number 3. And I don't know if you can see the sticker. Sorry, it's white, so it doesn't really show up very well. But Netflix is adapting this into a TV series, so that's why it's been very hyped up on TikTok. Actually, the sequel series has been, but I'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to read the books before it came into be a TV show. So if you don't know what Shadow and Bone is about, basically Alina lives in this world, in this country called Ravka. There's a lot of words that I don't know how to speak, so bear with me. This is a YA fantasy novel, by the way. So she lives in the fictional country of Ravka that is loosely based on 19th century Russia. So a lot of the like words and stuff are like Russian based kind of thing, and the whole entire world is Russian based. So anyways, Alina lives in Ravka, and her city is currently divided in half by something they called the Shadowfold or the Unsea, which basically is just this like large swath of land that is just covered in darkness. And Alina, while journeying through it for the first time, finds out that she can control light, that she has magical powers. Now there is this magical elite in the country called Grisha. That's where the name Grishaverse comes from, to describe all the books. So the Grisha have different sets of powers. There's like a whole entire ranking system. So once she learns that she has powers, she is taken away to the royal palace to be able to train with the Grisha and train underneath the Darkling, who can control basically like blackness and shadows. So basically like her opposite. So she goes to train at the palace, and while she's at the palace she learns a lot about the world and the country and like how her powers work, and the series kind of like goes from there. I really thought that the series started off really well. I would say the first like two-thirds of the book I was totally hooked. Then by the last third I got bored. Then the first third of this book I was bored, and then it kind of picked up again, and then I was kind of bored the first third of this book, and then it picked up again. So definitely pacing issues is something that I had with the series. I kind of felt like there was ups and downs. The absolute best part about the series is the world. It is such an interesting world. Leigh Bardugo does a really good job of constantly reminding you how the world works, because it can be really confusing with like all these different like rankings and all the political situation, but she does a good job of like constantly reminding you to eventually like get it. The characters, so there's a couple of like, there's like a whole cast of characters. Alina is the main character, and she's kind of like average. Like, I don't love her, but I don't hate her. I can like see how she like feels about like a lot of things, but like I don't know, there's nothing special about her. And her main romantic interest, Mal, I didn't really like him very much. I thought him to be very boring, and I really felt a lack of emotional connection in between the two. They are like childhood best friends, and obviously they have like a relationship now that they're older, but it kind of felt like all of their connection was in the past. That like, sure, there was moments in the books, but it wasn't like, it was nothing special because I didn't like it. I didn't like enjoy reading it. So yeah, if you're looking for romance, this is I didn't like it. But the world is so good. The antagonist, the Darkling, is so amazing. I just wanted to read more about it. And there is another character in here, Nikolai, who is the like prince. Oh, he's amazing. So yeah. Oh, I've also mentioned this before, that I'm not like a huge like war-based book person, and I will say that it has a lot more political intrigue than war, which I enjoyed. There's a lot of like hunting, which like isn't my favorite, and there's also like a lot of like sea journeys as well, which is not my favorite. I really liked the cast of characters. I give this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I just want to like explain that like online, like these books are not like oh my god, these are the best books ever. It's their sister series. Leigh Bardugo created something called the Grishaverse. So this is the first series trilogy. She came out with the Six of Crows duology, which is in the same world, and then she's also currently writing another series. I think this is a duology as well. Another one that is also based in the same world. So everyone says that the duology is way better than the original trilogy, but it's helpful to read it to understand the world, be able to like these more. Like, you don't need to, but it's like better. And like, you know, I like to do things chronologically, so I read these basically to be able to read these. So I'll let you know once I do read the duology if I think it's worth it to read them or not. I'll keep you updated on that. Okay, now I wanted to take a break instead of going into the duology. So I'm currently reading Wuthering Heights. I hope to finish it this month because it's currently the 27th, so I still have a couple more days. I won't finish it in time to include it in this video, so I'll talk about this in February. It's definitely been a little slower than anticipated, like for me to get through it. Yeah, I started this on the 19th, so it's already been a week and I'm only this far through, so it's slow going. I'm trying, like I've said, to rotate in between my books and like throw in some classics as well. So this is my classic, so I'll give you an update in February once I read it, what I think about it. It'll hopefully bring me to the end of January and maybe early February, and then in February, so I don't know if I mentioned this on YouTube, but I am trying to read 50 books this year, so that kind of equals out to 4 books a month with like 2 extra like thrown in there somewhere. So I was hoping to start off strong and do 5. I'm gonna be lucky if I do 4, but anyways, this month I'm gonna aim, so in February I'm gonna aim for 4 books as well. After I finish Wuthering Heights, I'm gonna do the Six of Crows duology. It has Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom. So like I mentioned, Six of Crows is really popular online on Book Talk. It's probably one of the most popular books after Sarah J Maas ones, like after Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I still haven't read yet. This is set in Rotterdam, which is a neighboring country loosely based off of Amsterdam. And yeah, this one is a little different. This follows like a gang of like gangsters basically. There's like 6 people and I think they do a heist if I remember correctly. So this is book 1 and 2. And then in continuing with the Grishaverse, which I don't really want to read the back because it might spoil the other ones, but this is King of Scars, and I believe that the next one is coming out soon, sometime soon, the sequel to this. I'm not sure if it's a duology or trilogy, but this follows Nikolai, who is the prince from the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and yeah, I've heard really good things. Really enjoyed Nikolai from Shadow and Bone, so I'm excited that he has his own series. So that is kind of books 1, 2, and 3. And then I was kind of unsure what I wanted to read next, and I might change my mind just depending on my mood, because I do try to plan it, but like ultimately, like if push comes to shove and I don't feel like reading the book at that time, I'm not gonna read it. I want to read an older book, so the one I selected is Debutante by Cora Harrison. So I will read you the back of this one. So it's 1923 and London is a whirl of jazz, dancing, and parties. Violet, Daisy, Poppy, and Rose Darrington are desperate to be a part of it, but stuck in an enormous crumbling house in the country with no money and no fashionable dresses. The excitement seems a lifetime away. Debutante, it's giving me like Bridgerton vibes, but like 1920s. Luckily, the girls each have a plan for escaping their humdrum country life. Rose wants to be a novelist, Poppy a jazz musician, Daisy a famous film director. Violet, however, has only one ambition: to become the perfect debutante so that she can go to London and catch the eye of Prince George, the most eligible bachelor in the country. But a house as big and old as Beech Grove Manor hides many secrets, and Daisy is about to uncover one so huge it can ruin their plans and ruin everything forever. Sounds pretty fun to me, and yeah, I'm kind of like wanting something historical. We'll see if I change my mind. So I think this one will be good. The pages are pretty, the font's pretty big, so it'll probably be a pretty quick read as well. That is a plan, guys. We'll see at the end of February how it actually went. So that is the end of this video. If you want to see more book content, make sure you follow me on my book talk. It is the same as this. We just hit 200 followers over there, but you know, if you want to follow me and give me more followers, that'd be great. I post more up-to-date updates, so if you want to know what I'm reading before I post these book videos, make sure to follow me over there. I hope you guys enjoy some like book related content. I love reading, and it is one of my biggest hobbies, so I want to share more of it with you guys. So yeah guys, that is it for today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video to let me know you want to see more book content, and comment down below what book you are currently reading, or if you have any suggestions of books that I should check out and read and review. So yeah guys, that is it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!